Hi, my name is Gina Paulus and I am a personal trainer, but I'm not just your run-of-the-mill personal trainer. I'm a trainer who understands. I understand that not everybody likes to work out and that eating right can seem like a huge, unpleasant chore. I'm not here to try to convince you that you're going to fall in love with working out or that you're never going to want to eat another cookie again. I'm here to explain to you that it doesn't have to be as bad as you think. Today's workout will focus on postpartum fitness, but anybody can perform these exercises. They are especially good for a beginner or for somebody that's just getting back into working out. Today we have Nicole LaChapelle on the show. She gave birth to her baby boy, Tristan, a few months ago via C-section, and she's looking to get back into her pre-baby shape. Be sure to stay tuned until the end of the episode, because at that time we're going to give you our special insider tip on how you can finally get rid of those stubborn pounds that have been haunting you for years. Welcome to the show, Nicole.
Thank you.
Are you excited to do the workout today?
I am, actually.
Great. All right, so the first exercise that we're going to do is tuck-ups, and they are a good exercise for your abdominal area.
Okay.
So I'll give you a little demo as to how those go.
All right.
All right, so you want to start out by balancing just like this, and you want to try that and see how you do there. If you're able to easily hold yourself this way, then you lower your body down, and then you lift your body back up again. So that's what is referred to as the tuck-up. So just like that, you can let your feet gently rest on the ground. Try to keep your arms straight. Okay.
Okay.
So let's start out with the sitting up version where you just try to balance there. Nice. Now just make sure your knees are as close together as you can get them. Awesome. And see if you can hold your feet up. Very good. So I'm going to let you take a break for a second. So does that feel okay?
Yeah, I think so.
All right, so we're going to go ahead and try the full tuck-ups.
Okay. This might be a little bit funny.
So she hasn't done these in quite some time because, like I said, she did just have a baby. So what you want to do is open your legs, in the front of you, and just lie down. So what we're going to do actually is break it into two steps.
Okay.
Lying down and sitting up.
Okay.
So that's going to be what you do. So you don't have to worry about holding your head up like I did.
Okay.
Okay, so you're lying down here. Now go ahead and sit up. Good. Now lie down again and sit up again. Perfect. So let's try 2 more of those. Very nice. Your control is already getting a lot better. Awesome. Great job.
Yay.
Okay. And what I usually tell people is if you're already on the mat, you might as well stay there because why get up and down 100 times if you don't have to, right?
Sure.
Works for you? All right, so the next one is going to be called hamstring curl with your legs on the ball. So she's going to lie on her back and put her feet right up on the ball. All right, so this is another one that we want to take it step by step to make sure that the person can do the exercise in its full capacity. So the first thing I need to check is if she can, with her legs straight, lift her body up and down off the ground. No problem.
Like that. Okay.
Right? You're like, well, give me the challenge, Gina. Okay, so she can do that fine. So now what I'm going to have her do is lift herself up off the floor and then bend her legs and roll that ball in and out. You want to try to stay off the ground the whole time, but if there's some sort of problem where you can't stay up, just go ahead and lie down. There's no problem about that. All right, so that was good. So do you feel like you could maybe do 3 or 4 of them at a time? Is that about your limit right now? Or you could even...
I could probably do a few more.
Yeah. So I want to see how many you can do with good form. Because one of the things that tends to happen is as you get tired, your form will start to break down a little bit, and I want to show what can happen at that point. So what I'm looking for is for her hips to be raised very far up off the ground, and you don't want to really see those hips dropping a lot as the set goes. Once you start to get tired, it's going to have a tendency to drop. So I'm just watching for her hips, and I think she can probably do about 1 more, and then she's going to be finished with this one. Good. All right, so that's the thing with this exercise. You want to watch for all of the reps to look the same. Once they start looking a lot different, it's just time to stop because you can get injured if you push beyond that point. So that one targets your lower back, your hamstrings, and your glutes. Do you feel all those areas working?
Yeah.
Your
definitely
calf
felt it in my
sometimes too, but
hamstrings.
she has pretty strong calves, so I don't think it will really hurt her there. So, all right, so I'll get rid of the ball for you. And, all right, so next we have the opposite arm and leg Superman. So for that, she's gonna lie on her stomach. And arms are extended out by the ears. All right, so I'm gonna have you, Nicole, keep your chin right down on the floor. And while keeping your chin on the floor, I want you to pick one arm to lift up and to lift the opposite leg. And then lower down to the ground. Nice. Now do the other side. Good. So you can continue just like that, and let's try to do about 10 of them on each side. Nicole, I'd like you to stretch your fingers super long, like you're trying to reach something across the room. Awesome.
Now I forgot which one.
No
I
problem.
forgot how to do opposites.
Yep, and that's, once you start getting going with this one, it's okay, but if you get a little bit distracted, it's so easy to just get your sides mixed up. But if I see that happening, I'll be sure to let her know.
Yay.
And make sure your chin stays touching the ground. When you start lifting your chin up, you use your neck to do the work, and we don't want to put overly an emphasis on the neck. We want it to be the shoulders, the hamstrings, doing the work here and not putting strain on your neck at all.
Okay, I totally wasn't counting.
That's awesome, that's enough. Okay, so I'm going to demonstrate the next one, and it's called clamshell. All right, so I'm gonna have you stand up and give me a little spot here. All right, so you wanna lie down like this. Your legs are about a 90-degree angle, meaning that if you look at the calf and the thigh, there's a 90-degree. You let your head rest on your shoulder. I have my hand here for resistance, so I'm making it harder for myself to lift my knee up. So I'm pushing against my leg to make it hard to lift. And one thing you want to watch for is the hips. A lot of people like to roll back because they feel like they're getting their knee up more, but it's actually not working the right muscle when you do that. So keep your hips stacked so that you're not leaning forward or backward. So just like that. And I don't think she's ever done this one before, so we'll get to see how she does her very first time. So you want to bend those legs just a little bit more. And now bring your knees in front of you. Perfect, and then the feet are back. Awesome. So it's hard for you guys to see the view that you're seeing here, but I'm seeing her head, shoulders, hips, and feet all in one line, and her knees are forward.
You'll have to forgive me if I fall asleep.
Okay. Yeah, she has early morning risings with her baby, so she's a little tired all the time, pretty much. So, yeah, so your hand is on your thigh, and go ahead and lift your knee up, and it's called clamshell because if you use your imagination, it sort of looks like a clamshell. Make sure your heels are touching each other and completely lined up. Awesome. They like to drift apart when you get started, but if you just put your mind in your feet and kind of think about where those feet are, it's not too hard to control it. That's great. So Nicole has a dance background, so her hips are very strong, and so she won't find this to be too difficult. She's making it look really easy, but it's actually a lot harder than it looks. And some people might even need to start without the hand on the thigh. They might just have to do the exercise without the resistance that she's putting there. I'm going to have you switch to the other side now. Setup looks good. Very nice. And sometimes if I'm working with somebody, I'll put my hand there and make it even a little bit more. So we'll try that out. Go ahead. You also can wrap a loop around your knee if you happen to have any of those fitness bands with those little loops. You can use that if you don't want to have to hold it yourself. A couple more on this leg. Very good. Okay. So now it's time to stand. She's like, ah, darn it.
No, it's comfortable.
But if you want to have a seat on the ball while I show you the next one, you're more than welcome to. Okay, this one, I'm sure it has a proper name, but in my business, I've taken to just calling it the penguin side step. I hope I'm not offending any little penguins out there with that. But You step here, and one of my favorite clients was the first one that called it that, and so she knows who she is, so hi out there. So you're going to step to the right and to the left. So just back and forth. And depending on how much resistance your band has will depend on how difficult this is. This is actually a pretty tight band. It happened to be the only one I could just grab quickly to bring here, but I'm pretty sure Nicole will be able to handle it.
Probably.
All right, so go ahead.
I'm trying to reclip myself. It came undone.
Oh, yes. Yeah. These things, I don't think they were designed for this vigorous exercise that we're performing right now.
Hopefully I'm not like pushing any buttons or anything right now. I apologize if I am.
All right, so here you go.
Okay.
So these work the hips also, similar to the clamshell, but a little bit more the sides of the hips. Yep, so and the most important thing about this one is your legs stay completely locked out. So it's better to make a smaller step and have your legs be locked. Good. And this is a pretty tight band. If you're using a looser band, you will see that the step is bigger, but it really doesn't matter how big the step is because it's going to work the hip really well either way. Just try a couple more to each side. And her pacing is really good. This is an exercise that is best done slowly. If you whip through it, you're not going to get the same effect as you would if you do it at a slower pace. One more little tip, Nicole. I need your big toes to almost touch each other. I know you have shoes on, but as close as you can get them. Okay. So your feet were wanting to turn out a little bit too much. So just try one more step to each side, just with the feet completely pointed straight forward. That's better. That's much better. Yeah, you can't make your big toes touch when you're wearing sneakers. But before they were kind of like each in their own zip code, which we didn't want. You can unwrap yourself there. Okay. So next one is going to be overhead shoulder press. But this one is going to have a little bit of a different spin than the traditional. I really like doing these one arm at a time, and I'll tell you why. You get a great core training effect in your abdomen when you hold the weight just with one hand. So I'm going to take one hand and put it on my waist and push the weight over my head and lower it down and push and lower it down. Now, the thing about the pacing on the dumbbells, it's always best to push the weight quickly but lower slowly. So that's the correct pacing to get the most training effect from your dumbbell work. So I'm going to let Nicole you can pick whichever arm you'd like to start. One hand is on your waist, and you're going to push overhead. It's actually, that's a good question. You can either do palm forward or palm facing in, but it is best to pick one of those two. So she right now is the palm forward, which most people prefer. So go ahead and push the weight over your head. Good. And drop. Nice. And as far as how deep to bend the arm, that is a little bit of an individual variation. If you can flexibly bend your arm all the way down and it doesn't cause any pain, actually you want to stop just above your shoulder.
Okay.
So, and I don't want it way out like that. I want it more in toward your head.
Okay.
Okay. However, if there's any pain or tightness in your shoulder, stop the weight sooner, meaning maybe stop it at your ear level or even at the top of your head, and that's perfectly fine. But if you don't have discomfort, then you should lower that weight as low as the shoulders, but not any lower than that. She's also doing a great job. This is going to be your last one. You can switch. Oh. One more would be good. There we go. Awesome. And you can switch off to the next arm. So I lost my train of thought. Oh, yes. She was very good about getting her bicep to touch her ear, and that's one of the things I see most often is people don't fully stretch their arm at the top. They cut it short, and she's doing a great job with that. So I'd just like to see a little bit more of a quick push with a more slowly lowering down. Okay. So push quick and lower slow. And push quick. Good. And lower slow. Now the faster you push the weight, the more of the fast twitch muscle fibers you recruit, which helps you to burn more calories while you're lifting weights. Last one. Nice. So which arm do you carry Tristan on?
Most often the right.
The right.
Yeah.
So do you feel a difference between your arms at all, or are they more or less equivalent?
I think they're kind of the same. Yeah. Honestly, though, I think my right arm was more tired just because it is constantly working
So it's worn out before you even start.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, and that can happen. She has worked out pretty regularly for many years, so In general, if you've worked out for a while, you're not going to have a huge difference between sides, but somebody that doesn't exercise, you'll find that one of your arms can easily be twice as strong as the other. And it's just a matter of getting into the habit of regular exercise, and you're going to find that those sides even out quite a bit. So the next one is with the dumbbell as well. So I'm going to show you what the next one is. All right, so this is bicep curls, and once again, this is going to be one arm at a time. So we're going to start with the arm completely straight, lift and drop, and same type of thing. We want to lift quick and lower slow. When you lower slow, what you're doing is you're fighting against gravity, and the slower that you lower that weight, the more you're going to use your muscle there. And as far as this one goes, you can do the curls either the palm facing in or the palm facing forward. They're just different types of curls. In general, if you're only going to do one, I tend to prefer the palm forward because that works your bicep in a little bit more of a direct fashion. So that's the kind we're going to do today, the palm forward ones. Now, the hand on your waist is just to help you to get your core in a stabilized, centered position. And she does a really good job of keeping her shoulders even. A lot of times you're going to see somebody start to tip toward the side with the weight. And just because of all the training that she's had in various activities, she understands that you can't let your body just slump to the side when she's doing things, which does come with practice. But you're making it hard for me to find mistakes. You're doing these so good.
Sorry.
Yeah, could you try to be a little bit worse at some of this? Thanks. But seriously, that think that looks silly because she's so controlled, but people do that. They're standing like this. And I'm sure you've seen them at the gym when you've gone and you look and you're like, how? But if you don't understand how your body is supposed to be held, you're not going to know. So we try to, be tolerant of people that are new, and we don't want to make fun of them because that's not nice. And the other thing that you'll see is she completely straightens her arm at the bottom. That's another common mistake. People like to keep it a little bit bent because they don't have the flexibility. The last thing I need to say about this is we want to leave about a 2-inch space between your shoulder and the dumbbell. Okay. So, because once you get closer than that, you're actually starting to let your muscle get into the resting position. Just do a couple more of those. So this is one of the only times when you're actually not supposed to go all the way when you lift the weight because it does get easier once you close off that arm. That was awesome. Very nice. Okay, so we can put that weight down. We're all done with that. Okay, so the last strength exercise we're going to do, and this is going to work a different part of the body. We haven't hit the chest yet. So the chest, we're going to do some push-ups with the legs and the ball. So the ball. This is going to require a little bit of balancing. If you've never tried these, don't be surprised if you fall off the ball the first time you try it. It's been known to happen. But you want to just take it slow whenever you're trying something with the ball that you've never done. So the best way to set up on this is you put the ball down, put your hands, and just get your bearings right here. So I feel like I've got my balance more or less. So I'm going to lift my feet. Then I want to walk my hands forward one at a time until I'm balanced. So this is my starting position, and then I'm going to bend my arms. A full push-up is going to involve touching your nose a little bit in front of your fingertips. And your body should look like a seesaw so that when your head goes down, your feet come up. And once you're done, once again, just nice and slow, you walk back and you stand up. Now, people tell me I get on and off the ball very gracefully. Well, I've had a lot of practice. If you don't get on the ball a lot, you're probably going to look like a fish out of water. No big deal. That's one of the benefits of working out at home, is that you have nobody laughing at you other than possibly your spouse or your kids, which I'm sure they laugh at you all the time. So it's not really a big problem. So let's see how Nicole does. Woo. She just kind of did the launch.
I did.
That was pretty fancy. Cirque du Soleil editions are next week.
I try and have fun with it.
All right. So she actually did something really cool here. She lined up her fingertips on the edge of the mat. And I didn't even tell her to do that, but that's an awesome way to do this. Go ahead and try your push-ups because you will be able to tell if your nose is in front of your fingertips or not because the fingertips are on the purple and her nose is on the rug. So that exactly shows you whether or not you're in front or behind. Nicole, the only thing I see here is I would say to elevate the feet a smidge, just right there. That looks straight to me from the side. So try to hold the feet a little bit. It's not like a hollow position. It's almost more of an arch than anything. just because I think your body likes to be hollow.
Probably.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, see, I can't go all the way down on that anymore, so.
Yeah, but
She's cheating a little bit, apparently.
do a couple more like that. So she has the ball under her hips, and that is a good place to start. If you can't do this exercise with your hips on the ball, you probably need to do something else. You could do push-up. You can walk yourself off there. You can do push-ups against your countertop. Just kind of put your hands, and then you're going to bend your arms. If you can do those, you're probably going to be ready to do on the ball here under your hips. Once you start getting really good, then you'd want to move the ball lower and lower onto your thighs, and then under your knees, and even right under your shins. And then eventually you can get rid of the ball completely and just do push-ups on your feet. Although the ball does give you a little bit of a balance challenge and a core challenge too.
Yeah.
So, but that just shows you that there's a lot of different variations with the push-ups. So anybody, you can take the ball and you can go from somebody that's more of a beginner or getting back into things versus all the way up to somebody that's a little more advanced. And with the same ball, you can do all these different types of push-ups. Okay, so we're going to do a little bit of stretching now. All right, so I'd like you to lie on your back. And you can just lie right there on the mat.
Okay, I gotta move the microphone again because that's where I clipped it, was in the back.
Okay. Would have helped if I told you what we'd be doing today, huh?
Oh, that's all right. It's all about improv.
Okay, it looks like we're all situated now. All right, so Nicole is pretty flexible, so don't be surprised at home if you're not as good as her at these. Just run with it, it's okay. All right, so I'm gonna have you lift your leg up, okay? And we're gonna put the band like that, and I'm gonna have you hold on. Okay, so this is the first one. This is hamstring and IT stretch with the band, and I'd like you to drop your other leg to the floor. Okay, so what we're going to do here is flex your foot a little bit more, okay? And now I want you to pull your leg as close toward your face as you can while keeping that leg straight and keeping that leg on the ground. And this is awesome. Usually I'm happy if somebody is at 90 degrees, meaning there is 90. She's well past that, so this is really good. And she had knee surgery a few years ago, so the fact that she's still really flexible is a great thing. Because sometimes after surgery, you don't have the same range of motion that you had before. So this is the hamstring stretch. And next, Nicole, I'm going to have you put both ends of your handles into your right hand. Perfect. And now you're going to let your foot flop to the side this way, so this way, this way. And let's actually switch. I made a mistake there. I'm going to have you hold it in the other hand. And then put your right arm out to the side. Okay. Now the only thing about this is I need your bottom leg to be straighter. Nice. And then from there, now that she's all the way to the floor, the first step is to get to the floor. Once you're there, you want to pull that foot more up toward your head. Nice. So the only thing is you want to try to keep everything from head to foot. You want to try to keep it straight. And then exactly, that's awesome. So keep working this foot. I want to see this leg trembling, okay? Is it trembling and I just can't see it? Or? So if you can get your foot to your ear, then you're at the end. If it's not to your ear, then you're still not perfect, sorry. But she is to the floor, which is awesome. But I'm just trying to emphasize, a lot of times when people stretch, they're like, okay, I'm just laying on the floor, relaxing, doing nothing. That's really not what stretching is. Stretching is supposed to be an active process that you're actually flexing your muscles and working. You also want to make sure that these muscles are kept tightened up. This muscle's tightened up. That way that you're not going to be at risk to tear your muscle when you stretch. Nicole, I'm going to have you do the same 2 stretches on your other side. So most people can't even get their foot to the floor on that one we just showed, which is completely fine. You do not want to ever cause pain when you're stretching. It can be uncomfortable, but it should not be pain that you're causing. And just try to flex your foot a smidge bit more. That's great.
Yeah, a little hard for me to remember to flex my foot. It feels unnatural.
Yes, Nicole does competitive gymnastics with me, so she does not feel that flexing her feet is ever okay, because we're really not ever allowed to do that when we do gymnastics. It's a huge no-no. Okay, Nicole, I'm going to have you move your leg to the side. And I'm just going to let her decide how to do that because I apparently don't know what I'm talking about. That's awesome. Good. So she just locked out her leg, and that's a lot more safe for her joints right there when her leg is straight. Very good. So I'm going to have you let go of that one. So that right there is approximately 20 to 30 seconds holding. If you need to really work on your flexibility, it's good to do a second or third round of the stretches. All right, so that's going to conclude the workout. So we did the 8 strength training exercises, and we did the stretches with the band. Okay? So it's time for the listener question of the week. The listener question of the week is about breaking through a weight loss plateau. I had somebody write into me, "Dear Gina, I eat very well. Many years ago, I got rid of most of the sugar in my diet. I eat a lot of protein and fruits and vegetables. I snack on nuts and only have carbs and alcohol occasionally, but I have 10 pounds that just refuse to go away. Please help." So this is a question that comes up a lot, whether you only have 10 pounds to lose or you're just at a weight that you've been stuck at for quite some time. People tend to have sticking points where their body doesn't really like to get rid of those pounds that have been the stubborn pounds for them. So it's really great that this person has been so committed to her healthy lifestyle, but it sounds to me like her body is getting used to the program and it's going to take some shaking up to break through the next level. So the first tip that I have for this type of issue is to reduce your portion size. Even if you are choosing healthy foods, it's still possible to take in too many calories. Along a similar line, you might want to pass up some of your snacks, especially if you are not truly hungry. A lot of people will tell me, "Oh, I eat a snack, between every meal, so my metabolism doesn't slow down." The problem with that is your total caloric intake can get too high because if you're eating all your meals and you're doing all these snacks, it just is so easy for your calories to add up. So what I tell people is if you're not hungry, just don't have your snack because you're not going to perish from starvation if you miss a snack. I mean, I know that the media has, and some of the food companies have tried to convince us of that, but it's simply not true. So the next point, reduce how often you cheat or splurge. If you are having a treat twice a week, try cutting it down to once a week. You'll be surprised how quickly you can drop more pounds. The cheating and treats and splurges and all this, I mean, it's important to do, but it's amazing how 1 turns into 2, turns into 3, and before you know it, all of the caloric deficit that you have created by watching what you eat, you can make up for it in one meal, and then you're right back to square one. So just watch it and be honest with yourself as to how often you're doing that. The next point is to change up your workout. Your body gets used to what you do on a regular basis. Doing something new and different will cause you to burn more calories. So that one's pretty self-explanatory. Anything that your body is accustomed to, your body becomes more efficient at, and it will not burn as many calories. So it's important to keep things fresh. The last point is to experiment with high and low days. Your body also gets used to the amount of calories you provide it. If you have some higher days and some lower days with the amount of calories you take in, your metabolism will be stimulated in a good way. Now, I'm not trying to say that you should starve yourself or that you should eat only salads or whatever on certain days. You still need to eat a reasonable amount, but on the days that you eat a little bit more, your metabolism gets stimulated, and if you eat a little bit less, you tend to burn more fat. Now, if you're a type of person that's very committed to your diet, a lot of people will start to pick, "Oh, I eat 2,000 calories every day," or "I eat 1,500," or whatever. And they literally eat the same number each day. And your body is very smart, and it's going to get used to that, and your metabolism will slow down when you don't vary your intake at all. So thank you so much for watching, everybody. We'll see you next time.